From the Improv in Houston, Texas, in front of a socially distanced audience, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Riggle, with Bald Bryan on sound effects and Teresa Strasser filling in for news. And now, careful what you wish for, Texas. If this goes well, he may never leave. Adam Carolla!
Test 1, 2, yeah. I just told 18 racist jokes, but thank God. The mic was off, so we don't have to worry about showing up on TMZ. Okay, Brian and Teresa Strasser are waiting in the wings. Riggle's gonna join us tonight. I just wanted a few minutes alone with you guys at the top because I haven't been on stage in months, as you know, coming from Los Angeles. Something I've been thinking about a lot, which is Carroll Shelby started in Texas, and Carroll, I think it was Leesburg, Texas, but he started a small town in Texas outside of Dallas, and he had to move to California. He had to go to Venice Beach, California to build a car. Now, if you live in California, I had to come to Texas to get my eyebrows waxed. So it's the wind is blowing a little different direction these days. I literally got my eyebrows waxed and I got my hair cut, and tonight we're going out for a fucking steak and a goddamn martini. Like free people. It is weird when you live in California and especially Los Angeles, you get used to that oppressive regime. And once you get used to it, when you see free people, it scares you. So like when we landed in Texas, we're walking through the airport, I was saying to Chris, look at those guys, they're eating food at a restaurant. Oh my God, they're so busted. They're gonna get their pets taken away from them. I had a funny thing on the way in. I travel sometimes with those little booze bottles called Travelers. And if you drink them at home, you're an alcoholic. But if you drink them in a hotel room, you're a successful comedian. So I traveled those little 1.5, 2 ounce little vodka things, and I was out of them. So I filled a flask up to take with me. And by the way, it's a goddamn good thing I did, because as soon as we got on the Southwest flight, as soon as they closed the door and they announced, we've suspended all drinks. There shall be no drinks being handed out on this flight. And it's for safety, by the way. This whole COVID-19 thing, like, look, I figured out that all flight attendants want to do is sit down. They just want to sit on that jump seat, and everything's about fucking safety. You know, you hit a little turbulence, we're not handing out drinks. So we're on a 3-hour flight, and they announce no drinks. And I say to the stewardess, because I'm old, I call her stewardess, I said, hey, why didn't you guys give us a little heads up? There wasn't going to be any drink service on this flight at all. And she said, well, we just made the announcement. What am I supposed to do, tunnel out of the fucking plane and go to a liquor store? Yes, you made the announcement after you locked the door. I'll just drink the blue water in the toilet. So, thankfully, I had a flask with me to take the edge off the flight. Unfortunately, the flask was only half full because the scientist who worked security at LAX pulled my backpack out of the security line, and they pulled out a flask and they said, "What is this?" And I said, "It's a flask that holds booze." And they looked at it and they said, "This says 7 ounces." By the way, if there's some entrepreneur out there who wants to get rich, make 14-ounce flasks that say 3 ounces on them. You will sail through LAX. I guarantee those Nimrods could pick up a fucking pony keg, and if it said 3 ounces on it, you'd sail to your destination. But this guy picks up my flask and he goes, "It says 7 ounces." And I go, "All right." And I go, "What's the max?" He goes, 3.5 ounces. And I'm like, "Okay, so that sounds like it's about half." And he goes, "Yeah, I don't want to get my phone out, but I'll take your word for it." I said, "Okay, so what are we going to do about this?" And he said, "Well, we could either throw the flask away, or you could walk it out, go to a trash can, dump half of it in the trash can, and then come back around again through security." And I said, "How are you going to know I dumped half out? It's not clear, it's not graduated, there's no markers on it, you're not weighing it." And he goes, "You dump half out, that's 3.5. And I said, "Yeah, but how do you know how much is in there? It's fucking dark and it smells like tequila." The guy goes, "Dump half out and I'll shake it and it'll seem lighter and then I'll give it to you." I was like, "Oh man, Al-Qaeda's fucking quaking in their boots knowing that this rocket scientist is preventing me from catching a buzz on a Southwest flight." So I was like, "Well, why don't I just dump it out into this trash can that's right in front of us?" And he's like, "No, that's not the booze dumping trash can. You got to go out in the terminal, dump it there, then go back through security." So I was like, "What's a fucking flask? It's got my initials on it. I can't throw it away." So I go, "Fuck it, I'll go dump it out." And as I'm walking to the dump out trash can, I start thinking to myself, wait a minute. Why am I dumping it into the trash? I could dump it into my liver. So now, at 8:10 in the morning, I'm chugging 4 ounces of tequila as I'm walking through the airport, like just holding it, shaking it again. I don't know. Is this guy gonna weigh this thing? It's fucking dark. Does anyone have a dipstick? Is there some sort of flask dipstick I could drop into this? So I'm chugging it, and I chug, what essentially, I did 4 tequila shots in 5 steps, essentially. I got a pretty good buzz going. I circle back through to security, but the only thing I have on me is a flask of booze. So they're just looking at me going, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to Texas." "How many days?" "I'll be there 4 days." Boy, Carolla, you travel light. Just an iPhone and a flask? That's how you don't want to pack 1 sock? No, just the booze. Just the booze and the iPhone. And a little something called gumption. So then, thank God I'm good and buzzed going back through security. It took the edge off. I take the flask and my phone and I just put it in one of the dog bowls, and everyone's just looking at me as the thing goes through security. I'm like, "All right, I got my medicine." I went through a different security line, and those guys didn't give 2 shits how much was in that fucking flask. So this one rogue TSA guy made me chug half a flask of tequila, do a huge circle around the airport, and then go by his buddies who couldn't have given two shits about where I was going with my flask or how much was in it. It's just good science. By the way, if in fact it is your policy on an airline not to serve drinks on a flight that's over 2.5 hours, I need more than an email. I need a representative from your airline to show up at my house and escort me to the airport, constantly explaining to me that there shall be no booze on this flight. You may want to make alternate plans. So we got on the flight, no peanuts, no booze, no water, no nothing. At some point, it's weird, the stewardess or the flight attendant felt sorry for us and smuggled 2 cans of water to me and Mike in a bag. Like she did it, she dropped it out of her pant leg and like looked around. It was like, I gave her a pack of cigarettes. She knows one of the guards, so the fuck is happening to our country? We're so scared in California. I don't know. When did that come in? It used to be come to California, come to LA, let your freak flag fly, have a good time, let your hair down. Now it's all just fucking suck up to the man. And I don't know why Texas isn't scared, and I hate this fear thing. Like, this thing where it's like, oh, you can't be too safe, or better safe than sorry. Let me tell you something, you can be sorry. I used to tell people all the time, they'd go, oh, you're gonna let your son play tackle football? You played tackle football. What about the dangers of playing tackle football? You could get hurt playing tackle football. I go, hey, a fucking busted knee, busted elbow, dislocated finger, that shit's temporary. Being a pussy is a life sentence. Wow, we got too many pussies in LA. All right, let's see. What else did I want? I had a couple other beats. I had a couple of beats that I wanted to share with you. Also, I was thinking to myself on the plane, as I was nipping off my flask in the plane, I thought to myself, when I was a kid, I was just thinking about this topic of safety. I grew up looking up and idolizing Evel Knievel. That was my fucking hero. A guy who got into a leather gi, put a cape on, put on Beatles boots. Those weren't even proper riding boots. Those were like zip up on the side Beatles boots. Took a shot at Jack Daniels and washed that Percocet down with it and fucking aimed his motorcycle in the general direction of 26 buses. Thought to myself, as a kid, Evel Knievel was my hero. Now the kids' heroes are Greta Thunberg. This is a fucking sad state of humanity, people. All right, let's not send her into her safe space. We're doing a live podcast, obviously, but I thought about a bit that just sort of rang true that I was gonna do for you guys tonight that's an actual stand-up comedy bit. There was a couple tonight that I thought would fit nicely into what is going on in our society at this time and all the freedoms that are taken away and all the safety. And I thought to myself, if you want to know how safety works and the safety police work and all this, look no further than smokers. Think about smokers. When I was growing up watching Evel Knievel, chances are somebody was in the room with me smoking, getting into cars and smoking at restaurants, smoking on airplanes. People smoked everywhere. And what happened? They said, all right, people lit up at a restaurant, and at some point, some all woke, no joke, progressive pussy, and by the way, I'm a libertarian, but I'm not down with the progressive movement because it's got the word progressive and movement in it. It doesn't know when to stop. Progress in fucking movement. It's a perpetual motion machine to fuck up our lives. So everyone would smoke, and then some all woke, no joke puss came up, and he said, hey man, hey, the smoke's wafting around. I got my kids over here. We got a smoking section for you. Could you just move over to the smoking section? And the smokers went, yeah, it sounds reasonable. And they picked up their steaks and their martinis and their ashtrays, and they went to the smoking section. And then 10 seconds later, the woke douche showed up at the smoking section. And he went, hey, I know we have a section with your name on it, but you're not gonna be able to smoke here. Move it to the bar. And the smoker said, fuck it, we'll go to the bar, we'll watch the Lakers game. We'll watch the Rockets game. So they picked up their cigarettes and their drinks and they went to the bar and they smoked there. And then the all woke, no joke douche showed up at the bar. And he said, hey man, I know he said you could smoke at the bar. I've changed my mind. Go out to the patio. Go outside. Go out in the patio. No one will object to that. Smoker said, well, it's fucking cold outside. Nah, just go smoke out in the patio. Then the smokers went out to the patio and they smoked. And then the all woke, no joke douche showed up at the patio. And he said, you know what? I know you're outdoors, but I need you more outdoors. You're still on the premises. What I need you to do is just go out the front door. Just step out onto the sidewalk. Get off the premises. Go smoke on the sidewalk. The smokers said, okay, we'll go out. And they smoked on the sidewalk. Then the woke douche went out to the sidewalk and said, you're standing too close to the door. Move it down to the park. Then the smokers went to the park. Then they said, there's no smoking at the park. And then the smokers went, fuck it, we'll vape. And the progressive, all woke, no joke douche went, enjoy it while it lasts, because we're fucking coming for that too. Because I know how dangerous water vapor is. So my question is, do they hate smoke or do they love telling you what to do? Because I think they love telling you what to do. And while I'm not in the NRA and I'm not a gun guy, I do understand the NRA is on to this douchebag. Because when this douchebag says to the guy in the NRA, hey man, do you really need a grenade launcher on your M16? He goes, how the fuck else am I gonna light my cigarette? I did think that joke would be timely for tonight. All right, shall we zoom in Brian and Teresa Strasser, who are behind me in all their glory? Teresa, you're in Arizona, right?
Right.
How is Arizona treating you? Are they clamping down?
I love it.
You love it?
I love it. Yes, you can go. It is very hot, but I could take the kids outside, beautiful mountains, bike riding. It hasn't been so bad.
You should work for the Arizona Tourism Board. Arizona, it hasn't been that bad. Bald
I would
Bryan,
love to get my eyebrows done, though. I'm jealous.
Yes. Oh, man. I had an awesome time getting my eyebrows done, and I can finally tell my joke without lying. I did get my eyebrows done, and she did say, how do you want me to shape them? And I said, I don't know. I never thought about it. She'll go, I'll shape them any way you want. I said, make me look like I'm listening. At some point, I'm going to have to talk to my kids, and I don't want to have to feign that much interest. Brian, where are you at? You at La Quinta?
I'm halfway to Arizona. Yes, I'm in La Quinta, California. Very similar to Houston, very hot with about 10,000 more gay people.
So I've just been like marveling, although, you know, it was funny. I got my eyebrows waxed and then 20 minutes later, I got my hair cut, and part of the protocol, you had to, you know, put the mask on, and they had the thermometer that they pointed at your forehead. I'm assuming they just embedded a chip, and at some point, our overlords in China are gonna have us all run into the Grand Canyon. But until that day comes, the woman who did my eyebrows hit the thing with the thermometer, and she went, "Okay, you're good." And I said, "What did it read?" And she said, 91.
Wow.
Brains.
Yes, I know. I've joined the undead. Although technically we're all undead, so I don't know how that phrase works, but she said 91, which seemed weird to me, but she's a woman who pulls hair out of other people's heads for a living, so I don't hold her to the same standard I held my pilot to on the flight over.
She had it set to Celsius.
Yes. She also must not have dealt with a lot of Italian or Armenian dudes, because when I said, "How much for the ears?" she went, "I don't know, we don't have a price for that." I was like, "Well, you better think one up, Missy." So she got my ears, and there is nothing more satisfying than hearing hot wax being pulled from your ears. You cannot miss it. So later on, I went to Sports Clips, and she hit me again. Sports Clips, you put your hands out, and they spray you down with alcohol, and then I should have just pulled my flask out and just doused myself in it. She hits you with alcohol, and then she hits you with the thermometer. I had gained 7 degrees in 20 minutes. I was like, 98. Well, that sounds more like there's blood coursing through my veins. And then we went to the sports clip place. And the thing about the sports clip place that's tough, or I felt bad for, it's only women who work at the sports clip place, but all they do is service dudes. And the only thing on all 28 TV monitors was NASCAR. So you have women who have to stand on their feet all fucking day and ask strange dudes what shape they want the back of their hair while listening to Rusty Wallace talk about Talladega. Like, Teresa, imagine if they just pumped NASCAR into your job 24/7.
Torture. I mean, it's bad enough they have to wear those referee shirts.
Yes.
Sport Clips.
By the way, you start to realize, like, all this stuff we're doing, it's really not much of a science, because it's like, I had to put the mask on, and then she's like, I'm like, "How are you gonna do the sideburns with the mask on?" Because I got the bra strap going across my face, you know? And she's like, "Hold up one side, pull the fucking hook down." She did it, then re-hooked it for me. Then I held the other side. She pulled the hook from around my ear. She did that side. 5 minutes later, she's shampooing my hair, no mask, no nothing. I'm just laying back, just kicking up sputum into the air, you know? I gotta say this, she gave me the hot towel wrap around my head, you know, the Scarface kind of, Al Capone kind of. I know smoking's illegal, but I always wanted that cigar in the middle of that thing. And if they could just get some kind of e-cigar or plastic toy cigar, or just something that puffed powdered sugar or something like that, really feel like a captain of industry. So I got my hair cut. I went with the shampoo. The thing that's crazy about Houston, LA, you go to fucking LA, you order a large non-fat latte, and it's like, that'll be $37.21. You go to Houston, you get your eyebrows waxed, like, that's $10. $10. It's $10? It was literally $10 to get my eyebrows waxed, and then they asked for a tip, but I was like, I'm gonna give you $40, sweetheart, because this sounds free. I got my hair cut, I got the full shampoo, I got the towel wrap, the Al Capone towel swirl on my face. The whole thing was like $23. In fucking LA, you tip your gardener that when he's pulling out of the driveway. Like, how much is a medium-sized or priced house in the Houston area, like this area? 200K. 200, 250, 300. First off, this is not a charity auction. We're not. This is 7 days in Maui. First with airfare. No, it's a 200-300K. Right, all right, that gets you, in LA, that gets you a nice service porch. What's a decent house where you are, Teresa?
Oh my gosh. In Scottsdale, ooh, $500,000 at least.
$500,000. And we know, Brian and I know the answer for LA, like fucking crazy.
Decent two-bedroom place is about $1 million.
I was just talking to my mom about the house I grew up in. The house I grew up in North Hollywood sold for $685, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, no hope. You think a house comes with hope? It does not. $685,000, and they fucking bulldozed the whole place down to the ground to do a ground-up build. Fucking nuts. All right. Rob Riggle going to join us on via Zoom?
Bringing him in
today.
right now.
Zoom, I wanna zoom, I wanna zoom, I wanna zoom. Do you guys remember that kid show, Zoom?
I do, of course.
Hold on a second. Can you find, I don't know what you can find. Can you find the theme song to Zoom? That is the laziest theme song ever. It's like, what's the name of the show? Zoom. Okay. What's the theme song gonna be? I think I got something. I wanna zoom. I wanna zoom. I wanna zoom. You just keep saying the same fucking word over and over again. Yeah. They're kids. They're like little retarded people. We can do whatever we want. Is Rob Riggle, has he joined us?
Yeah, he needs to activate his camera and his audio. We're trying to get that.
All right, well, we'll figure it out.
Adam.
What we're gonna do, oh, sorry, yeah, Brian?
I like how you started off by saying there were too many pussies in LA, and the first thing you did upon arriving in Texas was get your eyebrows waxed. And then they started doing bits about lattes and shampooed hair.
I gotta tell you too, this mask thing is weird and catch as catch can. Like, there's some people who wear masks under their nose. A lot of people wear it under their nose. They wear it like gangbangers wear their pants. Like, wait a minute. The whole purpose of wearing pants is so we don't have to look at your ass crack. Why are you? I wonder if there's some crossover there. I wonder if we gave gangbangers masks, if they'd all just pull it down to their ankles. Also, I've now taken to this weird casual move where I put the mask around my wrists. So I'm walking and people come at me. I go, hey, I'm covered, come on. The fuck? Rob Riggle? Yeah, man. Can we hear you, Rob?
Oh, I'm trying. How about now?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You keep moving that fucking phone, I'm gonna need to put on a Dramamine patch. Little Dramamine humor for you guys.
Good.
I know all the comedians cover it, but I just do it better. Rob, where are you at?
I'm in my office in sunny Los Angeles.
And how you doing with the lockdown and the quarantine?
I'm over it. I'm ready. I'm done. I've had it. I can't take this. I'm losing my shit.
Where, you know, everyone talks about losing their shit, but if you're sitting on a toilet, it's a good thing. I just lost some of my shit about 40 minutes ago in my hotel room, and I was happy about that. Oh, and Rob, what about you? I know you got a lot of shows, and we're going to talk about that. I know you're coming up. You're coming up on Jay Leno's Garage. I just was on the other night. I saw you're coming up. Which episode is that?
I have the slow guy episode. I have no idea. I get to drive this Jaguar pretty fast, which was kind of fun. And then he found a car that was very similar to my first car, which was greatly appreciated.
When do you think you might get back out on the road and do some stand-up?
Oh, good Lord. I'd have to go build a new set. I haven't done stand-up like in 8 years. And the last time I did it, the set was, I'd been out on the road with for about 3 years, so it was getting a little thin. I need to rework some stuff. I got to come up with new stuff.
Yeah, all those jokes about Reagan and Brezhnev. What's up with the Pontiac Aztec? Have you guys seen this piece of shit? Yeah.
I love it. It sounds like you got a hot crowd there because
Yeah.
I took a big shit in my hotel and they all just went nuts. I love that.
Well, they're starved for entertainment, so any comedic port in a storm will do. All right, Teresa, we want to you want to do some news, and we'll all just kind of jump in on this one.
I would love to.
Let's do that. Do we have an intro?
From the International News Center, next to Donnie's Mini Bikes, this is the news with Teresa Strasser.
First up, some good coronavirus-related news. Scientists believe cannabis could prevent and treat the coronavirus. A team of Canadian researchers says at least 13 plants high in CBD seem to affect the pathway that the bug uses to access the body. These results are very preliminary. They were printed in an online journal called Preprints, but they do indicate that some hemp extracts high in CBD may help block proteins that provide a gateway for COVID-19 to enter host cells. Researchers say it may be possible to reduce the virus's entry points up to 70%, giving you a better chance to fight the virus. Of course, more research is needed, but the scientists in charge of this study say this may prove a plausible strategy for decreasing disease susceptibility. Cannabis could even be used to develop easy-to-use preventive treatments such as mouthwash and throat gargle products. Of course, I should mention, this is not the cannabis that you buy at any dispensary. Only a handful of over 800 varieties of sativa would work in this manner. All of the ones that work were high in CBD, but low in THC. Of course, that's the hallucinogenic part of the hemp plant that makes you high. This study has yet to be peer-reviewed and is seeking funds at this time.
Well, I want to say this. My good friends at the prestigious periodical High Times have been scooped. They've been scooped by this study. Does High Times still exist, the magazine High Times?
It's got to be online, right?
Absolutely, it's around.
What magazine is less necessary? High Times or Runner's World? These are two endeavors you really don't need to read about before you participate. I feel like I could run while doing a bong load, and I would know everything about both those activities. High fucking times. By the way, high times should just be called high all the times. Is that because anyone who fucking buys high times is definitely fucking high. Well, that's good. The thing about pot, you know what I feel like? George Washington Carver, the famous black inventor, scientist, entrepreneur, that guy, all he did was study peanuts, and he came up with like 13,000 things you could do with peanuts. Axle grease and lantern oil. By the way, he missed peanut butter. I could see him down there in the lab like mashing peanuts all day, and his wife would come down and be like, George, you hungry? Yeah, I'll have another pimento and head cheese sandwich. Okay. Never fucking dawned on him to make peanut butter out of it. Okay, he missed that one. But what has been studied more than pot in the last 10 years? I would argue only the Kardashians have been studied more than cannabis. And look, I know everyone wants a reason to smoke out. The reason is you're a fucking stoner and the sun is shining, so fucking get to getting. I'm not judging anymore. Get high. It doesn't have to be good for you or stop glaucoma or ease your back pain or stop shingles. Just fucking rip a bong load. We're not judging. Thank you. Sorry.
Is weed legal there in Houston?
Yeah, what? It's not. Do we need, I don't like that we have like a small, medium, and large, like where we go, well, it's decriminalized, but it's still illegal. Like, I just want to, just thumbs up or thumbs down. You can smoke pot, though, right? No. But you can get, listen. If you try to carry more than 7 ounces of weed through LAX, you have to then go out and eat 9 brownies in the fucking... The guy in the security line must have been fun. He must have been laughing because I went out, chugged a bunch of tequila, came back 4 minutes later, and I was like, hey, buddy, you been working out? You look hot, aren't you?
Someone's lost some weight.
What time are you getting up? What time you punch out? Hey, uniform's fitting nice.
They made a lot of progress because think about it. I mean, she said there was, didn't you say, Teresa, that there was, you can gargle with it now? Because it used to be pot was so harsh it burns your throat. Remember all those coughing and hacking when you take a ripper? I mean, that's what I hear. I don't know very well. And now you can gargle with the crap? Jesus, it's progress.
I'm working on it.
I want to tip my cap to the young breed of bong sculptors, because when I was growing up, every bong was basically built like a pool cue. It's like you take rip a bong, it's literally like setting a pool cue down and walking away and expecting it to stand up. I had a bong that was like 34 inches high with a 2.5-inch base, and all it did was fucking fall over and shoot bong water all over our apartment. They figured it out now. They got the nice birthing bong, like the good birthing hips bong, like a nice haunchy, not the marrying type, but all right, sorry. Next story.
Moving on to a little bit of sports news. Did y'all watch The Last Dance on ESPN?
Yes.
Just obsessed with it. Loved it. Netflix says that overseas fans flocked to The Last Dance. The documentary series about Michael Jordan and the 90s Chicago Bulls team has been a rating smash in the U.S. for ESPN. But what about abroad, where it's already been on Netflix? Well, they are claiming 23.8 million households outside the US.
23, yeah! All right, forget
But
it.
wait a second, 45 is not 23. Oh wait, MJ will prove you wrong.
That's right.
The Last Dance has been available overseas for 4 weeks. 23 plus million people have sampled it. It's going to launch on Netflix in the US on July 19th. Prior to that, it's going to air on ABC. But here's some news.
Wait a minute, hold on. Before we get over our skis over here and the ratings bonanza, I've been cooped up for 3 months watching fat guys wearing Crocs in the Johnsonville cornholing competition. I've been watching morbidly obese athletes wearing Crocs with no socks, lobbing beanbags in the general direction of a glory hole on a piece of plywood that fell over. That's been my sports. So this rating bonanza may have an asterisk by it because it is in a vacuum of entertainment. I would argue if any one of you was trapped in the desert for 3 months and I brought you a piece of sushi I got from a truck stop, you would devour it and announce it's the best sushi you've ever eaten in your life. That's what just happened. Thank you.
Adam, who do you think is next for the ESPN docuseries treatment?
Oh, yeah, because they have to just have to keep going. I mean, they could do Shaq and Kobe. They could do like a Shaq versus Kobe kind of thing. They could do, I mean, you got, we've done OJ. We got.
It's a football player. It's a big football player. He's got a 9-part series. It is going to be called Man in the Arena.
Sharunas Marshalunas.
Yes. Who is that?
Who is it?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. He will be telling firsthand accounts of pivotal moments in his career, including all 9 of his Super Bowl appearances with the New England Patriots. You can look for that in 2021.
Oh, it's so satisfying as a Rams fan that I get to relive our losses at the hands of Tom Brady over and over and over again. It just won't fucking go away. I don't know. I miss, think about the times we're living in now. When I grew up, the big quarterback where I was Kenny the Snake Stabler. That guy was like, well, I threw 3 picks in that game because I was whoring the night before. I was fucking drunk and whoring. When you hear those stories about the Raiders going to San Diego, the Holy Roller game, it was like, yeah, we found a bar and everyone stayed up all night and John Matuzak raped a couple of he raped the bouncer out in the dumpster. So we were kind of depleted. Tom Brady's home. He's drinking an avocado smoothie. Him and Giselle are doing Pilates on the beach at sunrise. He's got his fucking personal trainer out. He loves his parents. He has no vices. That guy's no fun. I like MJ. Michael Jordan. I liked Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan was like, they're like, hey, Michael, we're going to shoot you in your palatial Florida home. And he's like, all right, let me get my booze and my cigar and put it prominently next to me.
Even the locker room footage, there was always a cigar in his hand.
Yeah, I want to send an important message to the kids who are watching at home. Scotch and tobacco. That's how you get 6 rings, kids. Are you watching? I know, and he's smoking. It's funny, smoking in a locker room is funny because they all lit up cigars like right after every championship. And it's kind of weird because no worse room to smoke in than a locker room. First off, 0 windows in a locker room. The ceiling is always like 6'9", like a ceiling is that high. Everyone's smoking, and then everyone's spraying champagne at people that are attempting to smoke. Either way, they had a commitment to smoke, and they would lay there and do it. And the best I can tell, Mike's none the worse for wear, right? That guy fucking smoked cigars and then dunked on everyone in the league. Yes, Teresa.
Meanwhile, Tom Brady will not eat a strawberry because the fructose content is too high.
Tom Brady. He's probably sitting around. He's got his fucking deal-a-wheel meal thing going all the time, trying to figure out the caloric content of everything he puts in his fucking face. How about you put a glass of scotch and Giselle's pussy in that face every once in a while? Live a little.
Well, if she goes to the same waxing person that you went to for her vajayjay, it'll always look like it's listening.
Teresa. I hope Giselle and Tom Brady break up, and Giselle's next husband is Tracy Morgan. So she can find out there's an alternative lifestyle to 6 a.m. workouts and avocado smoothies. I pray those two get together. I pray. And if there's any bootleg porn that comes out of that, I will be standing over my computer. like that scene where for Zuckerberg and, oh God, what was that
Social
movie?
Network?
Yeah, in Network, I will just keep hitting send or reboot or like reboot. Like, where's that
Refresh.
Tracy Morgan? Refresh. Where's that Tracy Morgan Giselle Bundchen porn I'd heard about? Sorry. Where were
Well,
we?
if you're excited about the NBA coming back, and Bald Bryan, I know you are. Rob Riggle, I assume you are. Brian and I are big Warriors fans. There is a lot of talk among NBA owners, executives, the National Basketball Players Association, and the thought is that Commissioner Adam Silver will greenlight the return to play in June, which is right around the corner. But here's the strange thing. If you would like to see the Warriors, you will not be seeing them in the Bay Area. It looks as though the NBA is considering a 2-site format for the return of the season, which would include games in Orlando at Walt Disney World and games in Vegas.
Wow. And I don't want to anger any of the Houston Rockets fans, but James Harden is not welcome back until he shaves. That is a fucking petri dish of disease. That's COVID-20 he's got on his fucking chin. He's gone one better. He's going to be spreading disease all throughout the league with that fucking big bush he's got on there. I'm sorry, somebody get that guy a Bic, or he's not welcome back in the league. I know it's controversial, but those are the rules.
Adam, I like him. He's a fellow lefty. Like just you and he, both excellent athletes and lefties.
Well, maybe the kid can keep his beard after all. So they're coming back to Vegas, and
Half
they're coming
in Vegas,
back to
half
Orlando.
in Orlando. That's the rumor as of now, that they will be back in early June. And the talk amongst Laker fans is that LeBron is already holding some private practices for 1 or 2 players.
Well, how can he afford private practices? He'd have to have his own court. Oh, he's probably got one of those ones you put on the garage. It's probably not a full, it's not a freestanding one, it's that garage one. Yeah, so LeBron is practicing.
They say he's practicing at a safe social distance, 2 or 3 players at a time, temperature checks, virus checks, but he is ready to go. And if the rumors are true, and most sources seem to say they are, June for practice, as early as July for games. Now, speaking of things that have been heavily viewed, like The Last Dance, I don't know if you have seen a viral video of a paint fight that broke out outside of a Home Depot.
A fight at a Home Depot? Now you're basically making me a Reese's peanut butter cup of entertainment. I love combat sports, and I love construction. So the notion that a fight would break out at a Home Depot, that's super exciting for me. Now, I hope it was in the lumber aisle. If it's in the aisle where they sell the paper towels and the cleanser, that's not going to be as good. But yeah, I'm excited for this.
Well, I'm very sorry to tell you it was in the loading zone right outside, but I think you'll be pleased about the state.
They're going to fight at the loading zone. Is the guy swinging is that a flathead shovel?
I was going to ask you.
Wow. That one guy's a bully. What's he picking up? What's he swinging? What's happening? Oh, is he swinging paint?
Yeah, he's swinging paint can.
Guy's got a flathead and a rake. All right,
Okay,
well, listen.
so I'm gonna let you guess which state in our union hosted this fight.
Well, it's Florida.
Texas.
Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
And TMZ is reporting there were 4 guys involved in this fight. And as you can see, one guy picks up what looks like a shovel or some kind of gardening tool, swings it at another. But the majority of this brawl is between a big dude and a little dude. They're both covered in paint. There's some slapping. One eventually chucks a can full of white paint at the other guy, forcing a retreat.
Oh, she broke up.
At the end, several men, the park truck, are all covered in paint. The men reportedly knew each other and worked together, so nobody pressed charges.
Yeah. All right, couple things. I always tell this joke, but it's not a joke. It's true. I spend so much time in the Burbank Home Depot, and I'll oftentimes have like a tape measure on my belt. And oftentimes people will come up to me and they'll go, "Excuse me, can you tell me where the half-inch couplers are?" And I go, "I don't work here." And they go, "Sorry." And I go, "Okay." And then I go, "Aisle 9." Because I know that fucking Home Depot like the back of my hand. I also, it's funny, I have a black American Express card, which is like, I didn't get it, Jimmy got it. It was like 20 years old, but it's super cool and it's big and it's heavy. And I realize when you go to the Burbank Home Depot and you pull out this black American Express card, that is the only time that person has ever seen a black American Express card. But instead of getting bonus points, I actually get demoted. I get the, couldn't afford the green one, huh? Well, get that FICO score up. Buy some more of that PVC conduit and don't be late on the payments. Maybe you can work your way up to the green one. Have you guys been going, Rob, have you gone in any place? Have you gone into a Home Depot or any of these places?
I did. I had to get a new towel rack the other day. So I went in, masked up, and I was just excited to be in the store because we can't even go into stores. It's all been curbside nonsense. So it was really fun to go in. I got a new toilet seat. Well, I figured why not? Might as well.
I gotta do a little jag about towel racks, about wall-mounted towel racks. There is a big problem in this country, and it is wall-mounted towel racks. And let me explain. Let me explain why.
That makes me part of the problem.
Yes. No, you're a victim. You're an innocent victim of the towel rack. Here's how the fucking towel racks work. By the way, everybody who puts up everything in your house, they put it up just long enough for them to get to their truck and leave. That fucking towel rack is not in it for the long haul. The towel rack is not going to support your extra nappy, wet-ass towel that you fling over it day after day for anything more than 6 months. And how could it? You know how they mount those fucking towel racks? Let me explain something. Framing. I'll explain layout to you. Inside of the wall where your bathroom is, where that towel rack is going to go, the studs are 16 inches on center. So the center of each 2x4 is 16 inches. The next one will be at 32, right? So the towel racks don't come in 16 or 32. They come in 23 and a half. Which means you catch the stud. You take those 2 fucking good wood screws, number 10 with a coarse thread and a bugle head, and you sink them right into that fucking stud, and they suck right in like, we're never going anywhere, Daddy. We got you. We're the Rock of Gibraltar. But on this side, we got a fucking empty bay with a piece of half-inch sheetrock and nothing but air behind it. So the guy who installs it gets a couple of 5/8 plastic screw shields and he puts them in with his dick. Then they fucking snug up 2 mini screws. Oh, it's level. Oh, it looks good. Oh, it'll hold a sanitary napkin as long as it's not been used. And that guy gets into his truck and he laughs maniacally all the way back to his fucking house. And then at some point, your towel, it gets loose. That rack gets a little loose. Then you start pushing it in a little. And you're like, come on, it'll work. And then the one side gets all fucking sloppy and the whole gets yoked out, okay? It needs an episiotomy. It needs a stitch. Sorry, I took a turn for the sexual and the macabre. But that hole gets all fucking yoked out, and you putting a bigger screw shield in there is not gonna fix it. Now listen, carpenters who are doing your framing, before you hang the sheetrock, decide where the fucking towel rack is going and put 2 blocks in that bay. Block that fucking bay.
Speak it. Speak that truth.
What's that, Rob?
Speak that truth. Adam, keep going, baby.
Okay. Because every fucking thing, don't get me going there's the towel rack, there's the one that goes across, there's the towel hook. They all fucking come loose because none of them are in a stud. And the screw shields, these little plastic screw shields they put in there, you put it in the hole and you tighten it up and you snug it up. Those are fine if you're filming a sitcom where a family lives in a fake house. But if they're in fact actual human beings living in the house who plan on using the hooks and the bars and the towels over and over again, they'll always come loose. And the most pathetic, the toilet paper roll. That one. That thing just all over the road, sloppy, yoked out, holes all big, trying to negotiate with it, angry at the person that pulled it loose. Of course it's gonna fucking come loose. Yeah, I use that thing to get off the toilet. I grab the towel bar and the toilet roll, and come on now, here we go. If anyone is having a home built or anyone is contracting a house out or whatever, you get to that bathroom early, you get there often, and you tell them, I want some fucking 4x blocking in these bays. You block this shit off. Where the towel's going, where the toilet paper roll's going, where the hook is going, I want it all blocked off. Or some hero make a towel bar that's 32 inches so I can go stud to stud. They're never 16 and they're never 32. It's always an open bay. I know I sound like my wife now, but I'm pissed. What were we talking about?
Rob, did you install your toilet seat?
Well,
yeah, it was surprisingly easy. I was amazed. I thought I was going to screw it up, but I got it right.
Wait, what did you buy? What did you get? You got a towel rack?
I got a towel rack. I got a straight bar towel rack that I'm sure you're right. It's going to break down in a minute. I got one of the circle ones for the hand towel right by the sink, and then I got a new toilet seat. And the toilet seat, I put on no problem. That was easy. That was duck soup. but I was nervous about it. I was nervous I got the wrong size, to be honest with you. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, they have the round toilet seats,
And
then they have the sort of oval kind of. You an oval toilet man? Because that means you've arrived.
Yeah, I'm an oval toilet man. That's kind of how I roll. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, call me when you go tankless, because that's really when you've arrived. All right, let's do one more, and then I'm going to do some Adam Carolla's Unprepared. Let's do one more news story. Thank you.
Well, I don't know how Zoom school is going for you, Adam. I assume you're heavily involved in the day-to-day homeschooling of the twins.
Oh my God, I am obsessed.
Constantly on the Zoom, checking up on their assignments, but things can go wrong, as they did in this story from the BBC. A teacher says he is sorry if homework asking pupils to define types of hardcore pornography led them to undertake inappropriate web searches. The work was given to children 11 to 14. Principal Che Bell stressed the assignment did not require internet research, as the answers were in the material that the pupils were sent. However, lots of students just put things right into the Google machine to search for definitions. And in this case, they were tasked with defining the following words and phrases, which they put into the family's Google machines: sexuality, drag queen, transvestite, transgender pornography, revenge porn, sexting, soft pornography, female genital mutilation, and breast ironing.
What?
I don't even know what that is. I'm afraid I've had it, but I've never heard of it.
I know like half those.
I had this funny conversation with my sister the other day. We were taking a walk, and she was explaining that her son, 17-year-old son, was doing the Zoom homework assignment with the whole class on board, and right in the middle, the nastiest, hardest core pornography popped on and to everyone's screen, and I said, what kind of pornography? And he said, like, my sister said, my nephew just like shook his head and just said, the worst, like, I don't want to get into it. And the person also started yelling the N-word. And I was like in this position now, I'm like walking with my sister, and I'm like, well, I don't agree with the N-word part of that. But the other part, yeah, it's funny, right? I mean, yeah. Well, you have to ask yourself, what would you have done when you were 16 and a half and you had access to this? Like, when you were 16 or 17 and the old fart that was running the class was still using a flip phone and like a jitterbug, to talk, and how fast would you be doing this shit? I would be doing it myself. It's sad. The kids' heads are all scrambled. There's no doubt about it. I think we're beyond therapy at this point. I think there's something that's going to have to happen. I think on the child's 18th birthday, we're going to have to take them all back to the aforementioned Home Depot. Give them a shot. Give them a shot of vermouth and put their head in a paint can shaker for 4 minutes, and then they just come out and go, I have no recollection of the last 18 years. I go, good, turn the page.
Oh, that's awesome.
Adam, thank you very much for having me. It's been an honor to sit in for the great Gina Grad. I'm Teresa Strasser, and that was the news.
Teresa Strasser and the news. Fuck you, CNN.
Teresa Strasser, the podcast, easy listening with our great Gina Grad. And of course, Teresa Strasser, available on Apple Podcasts, and the TV series, The List, on TV stations all over the country. Always love when Teresa Strasser joins us. And Rob Riggle, Holy Moly, Season 2, Thursdays, 9 p.m., ABC. Website, robriggle.com, and Twitter at robriggle. And of course, Bald Bryan, thank you guys very much for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, you guys. All right, so normally we do a little version of Adam Carolla's Unprepared where we have ping pong balls. You guys write one word on those ping pong balls, and I riff a bit on it. But tonight, because we don't want to spread the disease around, we're just going to have people yell one word out. Is that how we're doing it, Max Spada? All right, so how are we doing that?
So if you have a word, just raise your hand. Adam will choose you, and whatever word you give him, he will spin it in a
right
comment.
here, front and center.
Postpone COVID wedding.
Postpone COVID wedding. That's like 28 syllables. One word, but all right, you postpone the COVID wedding. Well, if you think about it, you too, right? Correct. Postponing a wedding used to be a big deal back in olden days when you couldn't fuck until after the wedding. Now that you could get a blowjob on a Tuesday, it's taken a little the edge off the postponement of the actual event, because the actual event, that's just you and meeting a lot of fucking distant cousins you don't really like, except for one who's really hot, who you're strangely attracted to, and you're a little bit buzzed, and you're thinking about it. You're not technically married yet. And I know she's got some shit with my wife because my bride-to-be, because she said that wedding dress looked okay on her, but she didn't say excellent. So postponing the wedding because of this is good for you. Also, most people are trying to do shit. They're trying to save up money. They're trying to lose weight. They're trying to do bunches of shit, and it buys you a little more time. When were you going to get married?
April 25th.
April 25th. So we passed that date. And where are you getting married?
Kerrville, Texas.
In Texas, at an event, not an event, but at a home, at a church. Where do you go?
It's my dad's best friend's
Oh yeah, I bought. I got that. Listen, you guys should all hope you get successful enough to get a second wedding house. And what that means is you don't get married at it. Your deadbeat friends and relatives go, hey man, the reason I asked you out to brunch, yeah, you want to get married in my house. Right. I had one of those houses. Mike August got married at one of my houses. And like, don't worry, we're going to put up a couple of dozen tents and have some horses, but the lawn's going to be fine. You won't even know we were there. Yeah, we're doing a little barrel racing, but you won't even know. We're going to... So you postponed it, and now how much are you spending on flowers? Because the flower talk with the guys, that's the craziest talk ever. I had a talk with my wife, and it's like, oh, it's only $4,600 for flowers. I'm like, fuck, that's 3 pickup trucks. I pay for everything I measure in pickup trucks from when I was 26. So I was like, that's 3.5 pickup trucks. Are you fucking nuts? This shit's gonna be dead by the time the wedding's over. So you guys postponed it, but you're having copious amounts of sex, so no one really gives a shit, right? And it'll give you a little time to think about it, to really make sure. Really make sure you got the right partner, you quarantine, you really put it to the test. It really is a stress test. It's a good thing. You think about it, because you think about it this way. If you're doing one of those weddings where like she's got her apartment and you got your place and you guys see each other a couple days a week and then you get married and next thing you know, you're living together and sleeping on the same futon, you want to stab each other after 4 days, right? But if you guys are quarantined, you know each other better than you'll ever know each other, and I predict it's going to last forever. But if I was a gambling man, Yeah, I do it like when I do football games. Who do I want to win? Well, I want the Rams to win. Who do I think's going to win? Well, the Patriots are going to win, yeah. Who do I want to win? Love. Who's going to win? Divorce. Let me get my money out. Well, that's where the smart money is. All right, hands up. We got a hand right up front here. Ace Man? You want me to do one on me? Ah, I'll do one on me. Wow, this is weird. It's like a snake eating his own tail. I think about myself now and again. I have these thoughts. Maybe it's based on the quarantine, but you're sitting home and you have a little quiet time. My kids and wife are in Florida spending my money, by the way. I'm like, what are you guys going to do in Florida? Over tip. I thought you were going to say go to the beach. Oh, yeah, we may do that. But basically what we're doing is we're leaving town to over tip. And I have some time, and I sit around, and I start thinking to myself, and I think, you got all these race cars. You can't drive all of them at once. And you got all these warehouses. How many warehouses does a guy need? And then how big does your big screen TV have to be? And then how many fire suits do you need? How many events do you have to go to? How much money do you need? And then I pause and I think about it and I go, more. I need more shit. And I go, fuck it. I'm watching The Love Boat and beating off. And that's probably the end of the introspection. That's as far as I get. Right there, over there. Kim Jong-un. Is he alive? Is his body? By the way, how much fun would it be? You know, these guys all have to have doubles, right? All these guys, all these tyrannical dictators have to have doubles. And you're sitting there, and you're a loyal subject, but you got the bones, you know what I mean? You got the Kim Jong-un bones, you know? But you've been living off of tree bark and tears for the last 30 years. And at some point, someone goes, you know, the only difference between you and Kim Jong is about 70 pounds. And you go, fucking A. Drop me off at the Golden Corral. When I get fat enough, I can do a body double of him. When I get up into Fatty Arbuckle or cruiserweight division, I will be his body double. I don't know, that guy, I hear stories about that guy. It's kind of funny. He has his own train. He shits in a toilet, but they don't flush it out. They don't go full Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews, you know the Dave Matthews story? It bears repeating. Even if you've heard it 100, this will be 101 times. Dave Matthews parked his tour bus on a bridge, I think above a river in Chicago, I think it was. Where was it? Chicago. And the guys who ran the tour bus was like, well, I think it's time to empty the septic tank. And there's a barge with little ants marching on it. Little reference there. And he just pulled the ripcord and he dumped all the liquid sewage onto people who were sunning themselves and taking a scenic tour of Chicago. How fast would your day go south? 1 second, you're holding a mimosa and someone is going, oh, that's where they filmed about last night with Rob Lowe, and next thing you know, you're doused in liquid shit. Life can turn on you, man. He doesn't have a butthole. You've heard that? He does seem backed up. That's a myth. I like that he is morbidly obese in a land of fucking waif models. Like there's nobody in his cabinet that goes over $135 soaking wet And then he just comes rolling in there like he's in a Monty Python sketch. And he's got his fade. And also, it's always, they always do this thing where it's like, they do the same with Al Qaeda. They do the same with all these guys. They go, you know what? It turns out they love American rock and roll, Elvis Presley, and pornography. And I always think, well, no shit. They're guys. And then my next thought is, maybe they're not all bad. All right, one word, hand up, all the way in the back there. Trump. I like Trump. I'll tell you a Trump story. Well, I mainly like him just to anger everyone around me all the time. It's just people go so insane about Trump. They are really fucking stricken with a disease. But I will tell you my quick Trump story. And I realized that he did this with this country. And I've told this story before, and I'm not telling it as a joke. I mean, this is what his mojo is. This is what his thing is. We were backstage doing Marriage Ref, a Tom Papa host, Jerry Seinfeld produced show from about 8 years ago. We were the guests. Me and Trump were like the celebrity guests, and Gloria Estefan from the Miami Sound Machine was the third one. And we're backstage, and Trump just walked up to me, big old blustery, big load of cheese, he just comes rolling in. He's Carolla, and I'm like, hey, Trump. And he's like, hey, I'll tell you what, this episode's going to be the #1 rated episode they've ever had. #1. We're going to have the most people at the inauguration ever. #1, he tells me. And I'm like, #1? Why should this episode be the #1 episode? Like, they've had Jerry Seinfeld on. You got Gloria Estefan, you got me. This is fucking sloppy seconds. There's no way it's going to be #1. He's like, #1, mark my words. And then we go out, we do the episode. I have no idea what happened. We're leaving, and as we're walking out, he smacks me on the back, and he's like, take it to the bank. Check the ratings tomorrow. #1 again. And he walked out of the fucking building, and I was like, are we #1? Fuck yeah. We're gonna be #1. We're gonna make Marriage Ref great again. It was a good show. We were probably, if they did 41 episodes, we're probably 39 and a half in the rankings. We probably got beat by like Those Amazing Animals on the Discovery Channel that night. But for 10 seconds, I felt good about myself. And I think that's what he's done to the country. All right, one more. Hand up, right. Let's go up front here. Yeah. Houston. I like Houston. It's a little sticky outside. I don't know about the humidity. I'm a chest sweater. I don't know what's going on with sweat. What's up with sweat? Some people are brow sweaters. Some people are ass sweaters. Some people are chest sweaters. Some people pit out. Some people get sweaty hands. What did God do with sweat glands and ducts? What the fuck? Well, like, here's the deal. All right, we're talking about Kim Jong-un's asshole. We all have an asshole. It's all in the same place. But what I'm saying is like some of you guys are like, yeah, I got the sweaty palm thing. And other guys are like, yeah, I got the sweaty lip thing. And other guys are like, I pit out. And other guys, yeah, I got the chest sweat, or I do the back sweat. Again, our assholes. Are they all over our bodies? It's not like they're... They go, where do you shit out? I shit out of my left ear. Oh, really? I'm a nostril shitter. Huh. Yeah, my grandmother does pinky shits. Like, no, it's just one fucking spot. That's how it is. Why can't sweat be that way? Why do 4 of you have weird hand sweat and 5 of you have weird scalp sweat and the other have weird titty sweat? What is that? Although it is attractive, ladies, when you get the titty sweat. Because that means there's some titty there. If that titty's just sticking straight out, like someone took one of those miniature cupcakes and set it on an ironing board, you ain't gonna get that big patch of titty sweat. I like a little heft, a little flop, a little crease. Any of you chicks put deodorant underneath your titties? You do, lift. Spray it under there? No, but you spray it under? Now, do you lift it yourself or do you have a valet? That guy lifts the titties? Yeah. I'm getting wood now. Fellas, when you do it, it's not quite as hot, you know, when you have to lift your own man jug. But yeah, it's a little balmy out there. And I found myself working up a sweat walking around. Also, it's weird because I never know what kind of relationship the city has with its cops vis-a-vis jaywalking. So in LA, you get a fucking jaywalking ticket in your own goddamn driveway. The guy's like, oh, yeah, the mailman's car had not pulled away quite yet before you stepped out of your house. I'm gonna have to cite you. I mean, I got a jaywalking ticket in LA in a crosswalk when the fucking thing was blinking because the guy said I stepped off when it was blinking, even though I walked to the other side and the signal hadn't changed. So I'm fucking paranoid. And when I go to other cities, I don't know if their cops are cool or they're uptight. And I was walking around here. I was walking under the freeway or something. Got my eyebrows waxed. I walked to the eyebrow waxing place. Now I'm walking to the sport cut place. And there's the signal. And it's red, but there's like no cars coming. But the cop is standing on the corner. But then the local dude rides his bike right across it. And then I'm like, okay, so is he cool cop? LA cop, pepper spray, zip ties, knee in the fucking small of the back, reading rights, pump of the shotgun, calling for backup, bird in the air. Guys riding on military transport, hanging on the outside, M16s, battle fatigues, helmets, goggles, grenade launchers. That's LA. That's when you jaywalk in LA. By the way, if you'd like to be homeless and shit anywhere you want, no problemo. If a homeless guy staggered out into the same intersection and took a dump in the middle of it, and I walked past it, I would be cited for jaywalking. That guy would get the key to the city. So I like Houston, but it's a little sticky outside, and I get some titty deodorant. It's also funny because no matter how much you prep, that jetway you walk through is always a sobering reminder of how hot it is wherever you land. So I do it. I go online before we go out of town. I'm like, what's the weather in Houston? It's going to be 90 degrees on Friday. Okay, so it's going to be warm in Houston. I go, okay, I'm thoroughly prepared, but I sit on this goddamn airplane for 3 hours, and as soon as I get off and hit that jetway, I'm like, oh, fuck, it's hot. Yeah, it's hot because it's hot, and you knew it was hot before you got on the fucking plane. All right, so sweaty. I do the chest sweat. Where you guys sweat the most? I'm kind of curious. We got hand sweaters, pit. We got the pit out sweat, man boob, titty sweat, hand sweat. You got some titty sweat going, ma'am? It's all right. Again. Oh, ball sweat. Yeah. The ball sweat. I gotta tell you, the balls. Once in a while, I'll get a whiff of my balls, and I'll be like, what animal did these come from? This is no human being. This isn't you. whose balls are these? Did this ball come off of a yak? Like, where did this scent come from? And you know, most of the scent that comes off a guy, it's kind of like, you know, it's like Thousand Island in the sense. But hold on. It doesn't smell like Thousand Island. Thousand Island is two familiar things. You take ketchup, you take mayonnaise. I know mayonnaise, I know ketchup. We'll put them together. We got Thousand Island. And most of your funk is that. I know that one. I know that one. The ball smell, it's like, this ain't on the fucking menu. All right, let me do a spot here for True Niagen. You guys should get yourselves some of this stuff. You've heard about NAD boosters. I do take this stuff. I take it every single day. I packed it with me to take on the trip. You get it when you get a little older, like my age, like 40 to 60, humans experience a near 50% decline in NAD, leaving the mitochondria, woo, that's a big word, to compete for shrinking supply of the most vulnerable energetic resources. You need to slow down the aging process. You need to get strong. You need to get fit. Putting a lot of stress on your immune system these days, a little lack of exercise, a little overeating. It depletes the NAD, and the cells expand, and they use more energy, and they do not function as well. Support cellular defense and repair with True Niagen. Visit TRUNIAGEN.com. Use the code Adam. Get $20 off a 3-month plus supply. This stuff is good. It's only doing this deal until May 31st, so avail yourself some of that stuff. All right. Hey, I want to thank you guys for coming out and being a great audience. I want to thank Teresa Strasser. I want to thank Bald Bryan. I want to thank Rob Riggle. My new book, I'm Your Emotional Support Animal, is out for pre-order, so avail yourself of that. Thank you. It only helps, and you can go to our YouTube page and watch all this stuff if you like. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Chris Maxipata saying, mahalo.
Keep it going for Adam Carolla.